So we back again with another stick to the script current events for the people, trying to keep you guys up to date on what's going on in the world and show you how it, what is the word, correlates with our scriptures. So we rather are your hosts. Myself, I'm Brother Daraj. To my right is Brother Yaquataza Tazadak, and to my left is Brother Shamar Yah. So we're gonna go ahead and hop straight into it. I believe Brother Yaquataza has some information to bring out first. Go ahead, Doc.
Khan, all praises. So today's topic that I'm going to cover is the Texas winter storm. You see, so recently there was it took place in February the 15th of this year, started like around President's Day. You know, there were power outages and no running water, which had left not only Texas, but other parts of the South experiencing the effects of a deep freeze that swept the whole region. So I got a PowerPoint, and let's see, start off from the beginning. So let's go to the slide. Please bear with us as we are trying to connect to our computer, to the screen. If we take a look at the slide. Let's see. Let me begin. Cool. So now this is a picture, right, of a couple walking through their apartment complex in Austin, Texas on Wednesday in search for running water.
That's wild.
Because there was no water running through the pipes. There were power outages, so they were highly affected due to this storm right here. So go to the next pic. Can someone read that for me?
Texans were tossed from one crisis to another this week as frigid temperatures and winter weather battered the state and the surrounding region.
So rigid meaning very cold in temperature, right? Continue reading.
Leaving many people in dire situations and grasping for the most basic of needs.
Dire meaning urgent, right?
First came the power grid failures, which left millions without electricity and cold in the heat. Then, as power began to be restored, millions more Texans discovered that their taps had run dry, pipes had burst, or water treatment plants had failed, and that they had to boil their water before using it. Gross.
Yeah, continue on.
The storms have also delayed the federal government's delivery of vaccines to several states, including Texas, and caused a shortage of food at some grocery stores and food pantries. By Saturday, though power had been restored to most people across the region, 69,000 people in Texas, 61,000 in Mississippi, and tens of thousands more in Louisiana, Kentucky, and West Virginia were still without electricity.
So notice it said it was food shortages. Several grocery stores were unable to, serve food to the people. Let me get the scripture. Matthew. Let's go to the book of Matthew. Matter of fact, let's get Matthew 24:7.
Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places."
So there should be famines and pestilences. You see that? So famine meaning food shortages. You see that? So these people, they were unable to get food. They were unable to get taken care of due to the storm. And pestilences, we're going to cover that in a little bit. We're going to see that the waters was poisoned. There were like parasites and all type of things in their water. So the water was contaminated. And we're also going to cover, we see that it says the vaccines because just like what the slide said, this article, it says the storm have also delayed the federal government delivery of vaccines because, due to the storm, it was extremely cold over there, right? And they also had warming centers. They had warming centers out there in Texas, but in order to gain entrance to there, you have to show proof that you were vaccinated. So it was a lot of people that was not vaccinated, and they were unable to gain entrance into these warming centers to keep themselves warm, right? Now, next slide. Let's go back to the slideshow. Okay, so now this is pretty interesting because it was this individual. This was a female. Right? She experienced, power outages, no running water, but then she decided to take a trip to this area, which is called Highland Park. Highland Park will be considered the Beverly Hills. So when y'all see Beverly Hills out here in California, you see that there are mansions, right? It's a really high-end neighborhood. So she decided to take a trip down on Highland Park, and she noticed that there were power running over there. You see that? So this is how it looks. This is Highland Park. And she took a few pictures. You see that? So this picture right here, this is a mansion in Highland Park. And as you can see, if you're looking through the windows right there, you see the power on. You see the lights on. You guys can see the lights through the window. You see that? And not only that they have power inside their houses, right? They had working stoplights in their neighborhoods. They had working stoplights. Traffic lights were fully operating, right? Go to the next slide. Next slide. This is a community area called Preston Hollow. You see that? So these are, highly expensive properties that they have out there. You have to, be working a high-paid job, and you have to be really rich to afford these type of properties. You see that? So this was one of the houses over there in Preston Hollow area. You guys can see that they have power inside their houses. You see that? Next slide. Now, this is pretty interesting because, most people don't know that Esau, which is the so-called white man, they have the ability, using technology, to modify the weather. They can manipulate the weather. They can change the weather. So if you guys can do your research on HAARP, right? HAARP. Can someone read that?
High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. The High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program was initiated as an ionospheric research program jointly funded by the U.S. Air Force, the U.S. Navy, the University of Alaska, Fairbanks, and the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency. It was designed and built by Bay Advanced Technologies.
Right. So this is located in Alaska, right? So this is pretty interesting because they, weaponize these things. Climate control is used to where they can, use it as a weapon to, they use it in war, right? They can use it to, take over, a group of people or a nation of people, right? So if we look at this article right here, it says weather control as a Cold War weapon, right? Somebody read that.
Weather control as a Cold War weapon. In the 1950s, some U.S. scientists warned that without immediate action, the Soviet Union would control the Earth's thermometers.
And the source on that is SmithsonianMag.com, right? So we're going to look into some of this article, right? Read that.
On November 13, 1946, pilot Curtis Talbot, working for the General Electric Research Laboratory, climbed to an altitude of 14,000 feet, about 30 miles east of Schenectady, New York. Talbot, along with scientist Dr. Vincent J. Schaefer, released 3 pounds of dry ice, frozen carbon dioxide, into the clouds. As they turned south, Dr. Schaefer noted, "I looked toward the rear and was thrilled to see long streamers of snow falling from the base of the cloud through which we had just passed. I shouted to Kurt to swing around. And as we did so, we passed through a mass of glistening snow crystals. Needless to say, we were quite excited. They had created the world's first human-made snowstorm. After the experiment of GE's...
Wait, read that part again.
They had created the world's first human-made snowstorm.
They have created the world's first human-made snowstorm. So this can't be a coincidence, right? That, how they used the snowstorm over there in Texas. You see that? Because it's really interesting when we go into it. The snow that was out there was actually fake snow. It was not real snow. Just like the snow that they have out there in the Big Bear Mountains in New York, these people, they tried burning the snow and it would not melt for some reason. So this is why it's getting suspicious, because where can this fake snow come from? That's just to show you they are imitating snow. They are modifying the weather, right? Continue reading.
After the experiments of GE's research laboratory, there was a feeling that humanity might finally be able to control one of the greatest variables of life on Earth. And as Cold War tensions heightened, weather control was seen by the United States as a potential weapon that could be even more devastating than nuclear warfare.
You see that? So this is something that we need to keep an eye on. The government, they are so wicked. They are willing to use weather control to, to kill the lives of the people. So this is the thing we need to watch out for. I also want to show this video, not only with HAARP, we look at NASA too. Let me exit out of here real quick.
You can switch it back to us, Darius. It's really crazy because while you get that, Yukwata, I just wanted to chime in real quick. It's really crazy because that's like, not to say that the blast is nothing, but what really devastates after a nuclear warhead, from my understanding, is the so-called nuclear winter, the ash, the contamination, the radioactivity. So the fact that they trying to weaponize it, leave it to Esau to be like, hey, that wind knocked over something over there. I bet we can harness that. It's like, the Esau is really the devil, man. Anything that he could use to his advantage, anything he could weaponize, anything he can destroy, he's going to put his hand to it to say, I am God. I can control the weather. Say something. Get in my face. Piss me off. I have it snow and I destroy all your crops. It's like, man, but it's crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really crazy, So let's go to this slide real quick. And this is a video. You guys can, look this up on your own. Y'all can watch the full video. I'm just going to show the important part, right? Now, the title of this video is called Space Shuttle Rocket Booster Test. Now, this man right here, his name is Jeremy Clarkson, right? He decides to head to Mississippi where NASA tests their space shuttle solid rocket boosters. You see that it says consuming 500,000 gallons of fuel, they generate the thrust needed to propel astronauts into space. They're a tad noisy too. You see that? So check this out. Let me see. It says.
Oh, okay, astronaut.
Yeah, astronaut. So, yeah, check this out. Can you guys hear that?
Oh, yeah.
Hold on real quick.
Unmute the aux, Darius.
Okay, while I plug it in.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive.
This is the
And, as it
technology
turns
that
out,
Esau has.
the cleanest.
Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain.
So they are creating rain. They have the ability to formulate rain.
Told you. It's raining. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God. It's making its own weather.
So I want to go back to what he said. Notice what he said. This is 249. Well, hold on. Let me go back to it real quick. We have to skip this real quick. So go back to 249.
God, it's making its own weather. That's unbelievable. Oh. NASA's playing God.
He said NASA is playing God. It's creating its own weather. That's the thing about Esau. He wants to be in the position of the Most High, right? Let's get the book of Daniel, chapter 7, verse 25. That's the thing about Esau, the so-called white man. He want to surpass the Most High. He want to be the Most High, right?
Daniel chapter 7, verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and the dividing of time.
So this is what we're dealing with. Esau, the Satan, the so-called white man. He thinks to change times and laws and the ordinances. He wants to be the Most High. So this is the devil that the Bible speaks of right here. Okay, so going back to the slide, to the PowerPoint. Right here. Right. Yeah, so as we covered that, the weather control as a Cold War weapon. So I also want to show some of the videos of what actually happened in Texas, right? So this is his sister right here. She's giving her testimony of what she experienced, not her, but everybody over there during this winter storm. I'll put it right here.
I said, did your power come back on? They said, no, but we can't stay here. We paid $1,000 in 5 days for a room that allowed people to come out and let their dogs poop and urinate. It's unsafe. And the warming centers, let me say this in closing. The warming centers that they're telling everybody that they can go to, the warming centers are asking you, have you been vaccinated? Oh, and one more thing, don't let me forget this.
Just like what I said, the warming centers, you have to show proof of vaccinations in order to gain entrance, right?
You know how we've been made to stand in lines, even in freezing temperature where your skin is falling off, where you are developing hypothermia within 5 to 10 minutes, okay? We are made to stand outside because we can't go inside the stores all collectively because of COVID, but we can all gather together in the warming centers. We can gather together. We can do that there. We can gather together in the hotel rooms. That's not a problem. But you know why you can't gather inside of Walmart and you got to stand in those long lines? Because even in the midst of all of this, they still got CDC officials fining the people if they are over capacity. They still want the 6 feet rule in place. They still want I said a pandemic. They trying to kill us out here. If you want to see the information, because I want y'all to share this. You know, I know everybody got a microwave mentality. They want you to say what they want you to say in 5 minutes or less. So here go your 5 minutes. Share that. Share that. Tell them Dr. Tawana Worlds is in Texas, live on the ground, been delivering food and blankets and everything else. We ain't got no generators. People that have been using gas generators, guess what? They don't have no gas. So that means more people will freeze. And the National Guard is supposed to be coming through to do welfare checks. Do you know how high the death rate will go up once they do the welfare checks? Now, if I show y'all these next videos and these next pictures that I'm getting ready to show y'all, and you see that the way stuff is frozen in their house, if you don't believe that people is dead in there, then something's wrong with you.
Right. So a lot of people died due to this winter storm. So if we look at the current the statistics of the death over there, it says death toll from Texas winter storm rises sharply to 111. Official previously had said that the storm, which devastated the state's power grid in February, had killed nearly 60 people. Now, it could be more than this, right? Possibly it could have been more than this. So, it was more than 100 people that died, and it was millions of people that was without power and water. You see that?
I'm telling you right now. I'm asking you right now. This is bigger than black or white or red and blue and politics and Dems and lefts. This is bigger than that. And I have been sounding the alarm and warning the people for quite some time, but now it's here upon us. Too late for shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Now it's time for us to do something for one another. It's time for us to come together, build our own stuff. We ain't got no food. They put a red flag yesterday and said after all the snow melt, then they'll assess the damage. We ain't got no food, y'all. There ain't no water. There ain't no clean water. They say boil the water, but how can you boil the water with no power?
And they said boil the water. How can you boil how can you? They tried boiling the snow, right, to get water, but guess what? The snow wouldn't melt. And I'm gonna show you guys in this other video. This video, you guys can check this out on War Star Hip Hop. The title of this video is "They're Trying to Get Rid of Us." Texas woman claims she exposing the truth of what really going on over there. Because unlike the media, you can't trust the media. The media doesn't show everything. You see that? So that's the thing. Like we got to utilize, social media. Social media is a good source, such as like Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You got YouTube, right? And this site, Worldstar Hip Hop. They will like show you the truth, behind what's really going on. So this is another video of these people out there in Texas trying to burn the snow, and it would not melt.
Yeah, right there. That's good. Keep it right there. Keep it right there.
Shit, I'm gonna put my hand in.
I don't even want to touch it now. Wow.
We demonstrate on here. Look at this. Y'all see the bugs? Yeah. They like Maggie. Oh no. Can you
We're going live now.
Y'all tap in, y'all. Our water in Texas is now contaminated with parasites. If y'all
So she said the water has been contaminated with parasites. So now there are parasites in their water.
Texas, please do not drink the water. The water is now contaminated in Texas, y'all. They are sending warnings out telling people do not drink the water.
Sir, please share this.
Do not brush your teeth with the water. Do not wash your face with the water. So pretty much they tell y'all to run the water to keep the pipes from freezing. But yeah,
They sending parasites through this water.
the water in Texas now has parasites, y'all. Do not drink the water. Please share this video.
So once again, as we can see, these are the lower class people experiencing these conditions. Because I just showed you guys earlier in the upper class, right, the so-called Beverly Hills, they ain't going through no struggles. You see what I'm saying? They got power running, they power is on, they got water running, they got gas. They ain't experiencing no problems. But when you look at the lower class people, they're experiencing all of the problems.
It is very important.
Put the light on.
I'm gonna get straight to the
Do not
point.
drink
So
the
now,
water, y'all.
so now as y'all can see, those are the little mini micro parasites
This
going
is
through
coming
those
out
waters.
of the faucet, y'all.
Oh, need to focus.
It's a focus. Hold on, let me see.
If y'all
Right
in
there,
Texas,
right there.
do not drink the water.
They said we can't even wash our face with the water.
They said don't wash your
Yep,
face,
these little
don't
things.
brush your teeth, do not drink the water, boil it if you have to for those that has power. If y'all have bottled water, if y'all have the Nestle delivery water, please drink that water, y'all.
So that was one thing. So there was
These people is
parasites
out
in
here
the
trying to
water.
kill us.
And now I'm gonna jump to where they tried to burn the
If
snow
y'all ain't
and it would not
Videos,
melt.
just trying to make the best out of this, and then
So this is
we
another
got the
view. Y'all
message
see the
to
little
check our
parasites?
water. I mean, to not
Right
use
here.
the water to boil
It's
it for
moving.
5 minutes. We just wanted to check it, and so this is what we came up with. I don't know what the hell this is.
I
They
don't
telling
even
us
know
not
this-
to even wash our face with it.
I don't even know if that I don't even know
So I'm
if
gonna
that
fast
a diet
forward
you
it.
boil it. Well, do not drink this.
Stock up on y'all some
Don't make no sense. Y'all do real fine now.
So right here.
But let me show y'all this right quick.
It melt in your hand.
This was the snow out there in Texas.
Show this. Let me show y'all something. Look at this right quick. And then I'm gonna put it back on these parasites that they put out in this water. Now look, this is snow. She the one that made a snowball from outside. Y'all check this out for the ones I ain't never seen. This real fine now.
It burns, but it doesn't melt.
It's not gonna melt
Look,
like
The snow would not melt for some reason.
the real solid ice.
Get a piece of real ice. Show them what ice supposed to do. Like, this shit can't be real out here. These folks trying to kill us. Keep it right there, please. I'm going up under a little. Look, I ain't even worried about my phone getting wet because it ain't even melted. Look at that. Ice. It burned, but look. But
They
It's like wax.
Even when you touch it, it's not even wet.
it ain't even wet. Now look at real ice.
See, that's real ice right there.
Huh?
Wait, she's gonna get the real ice.
Now show them quite quick before we go back and show y'all this contaminated water. Now burn some real ice. That's the ice cube. That's the ice thing.
Oh, they didn't even get a chance to show it. But yeah, that's just to show you right there. So, it's a lot of plagues that, these people are experiencing. Our people, the so-called African Americans, we're going to continue to experience these things because, we're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Let's get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
You see that? So all these curses is going to come upon thee and overtake thee. You see, the thing about when you come into the truth and when you read the scriptures, you get a lot of wisdom. You get a lot of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You see that? So the Most High, he will be showing you signs in regards to making sure you prepare yourself. You see what I'm saying? For these, for the perilous times that are coming, right? Such as winter storms. You got the fires that we recently experienced out here, the California fires. We got to prepare ourselves. You see what I'm saying? That way we won't fall into the judgment and in the hands of the Most High, him bringing forth the judgment out there. Let's get another scripture. Let's get Jude 1 and 21.
Brother, bringing out Jude.
Jude chapter 1, verse 21. Keep yourselves in the love of the Most High, looking for the mercy of our Lord Yahweh Shai unto eternal life.
So if we want mercy, we got to keep our love with them. We got to keep ourselves. We got to keep our love with the Most High. You see what I'm saying? Love is keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Because when we keep these law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High, he's going to spare us. He's going to make sure we're safe at all times. We won't fall into, the plagues that he sent forth. Right? So I got one last thing to show. Because just like what the sister was saying when she brought forth her testimony and, what was really going on, she said, where's Joe Biden? Where's the FEMA? They're supposed to be, over there helping the people, right? And let's go to the slide real quick. Look at the Texas mayor. He had a response to this, right? Because everybody was blowing him up. They was blowing up his phone line. They was bugging him out and everything, and he just couldn't take it. So this is Tim Boyd, right? Texas mayor. Let me go from the beginning. Hold on, let me go back. There we go. Yeah, so read that.
Meet Tim Boyd, Colorado City, Texas mayor that ranted online about the winter storm. Let me hurt some feelings while I have a minute. No one owes you or your family anything, nor is it the local government's responsibility to support you during trying times like this. Sink or swim, it's your choice. The city and county, along with power providers or any other service, owes you nothing.
See, this is how they feel about the people. Look, they don't really care about us. Just like what Michael Jackson said, they don't really care about us. I'm telling you, we need to stop depending on the government and start our own government. We need to start our own, we need to build up our own communities and depend on each other. You see that?
I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout. If you don't have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe.
Is he an Edomite?
He is an Edomite.
Yeah, he's an Edomite.
I was like, it's got to be Edomite.
You know this is called Cassidy.
You pay the bills, but we don't owe you nothing. What am I paying for?
That was literally my point. I was like, so you telling me all of these Texans, these Americans that pay their damn bill,
right.
Power bill, electric bill, they pay the gas bill, but you don't. No, you absolutely owe me something. That's literally, that was the contract that was created between the two of us. I pay the bill, you give me the damn service. That's what you owe me. But leave it up to the caucasity. Too much damn mayonnaise.
Right.
Anyway, I'm sick and tired of people looking for a damn handout. If you don't have electricity, you step up and come up with a game plan to keep your family warm and safe. If you have no water, you deal without. And think outside the box to survive and supply water to your family. If you are sitting at home in the cold because you have no power and are sitting there waiting for someone to come rescue you because you're lazy is direct result of your raising.
Damn.
Only the strong will survive and the weak will perish. I'm dying right now. This man is mayor and can't spell worth a damn. This is driving me crazy. I'm not even going to lie. Let me continue, though. Only the strong will survive and the weak will perish. That's the wrong perish. Folks, God has given us the will and God has given us the tools to support ourselves in times like this. This is sadly product of a socialist government,
which you're a part
where
of,
where they feed people to believe that the few will work and others will become dependent for handouts. Am I sorry that you have been dealing without electricity and water? Yes, but I'll be damned if I'm going to provide for anyone that is capable of doing it themselves. We have lost sight of those in need and those that take advantage of the system and meshed them into one group. Bottom line, quit crying and looking for a handout. Get off your ass and take care of your own family. Bottom line, two
bottom lines, no big deal.
Right. Okay, so don't be a part of the problem. Be a part of the solution. Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
So that's just to show you right there, they don't really care about us. You see what I'm saying? When you look at Senator Ted Cruz, he flew to Mexico. Where was he during this whole winter storm? He was minding his own business. He's like, look, I'm about to go take my family and go to vacation. We're going to be in Mexico, and we ain't going to have to, worry about none of that stuff.
But what kills me, though, is the caucasity in this man. Like, Caucasian people have to be the most audacious people on the face of the earth. Y'all got some nerve, right? This man is talking about people who's asking for handouts and blah, blah, blah. It's directed toward a certain group of people.
Oh, for sure.
But let's be real. Let's be real right now. Government assistance, if you go and look at the statistics, it's mainly his people that are on it. They are the majority on it. We're actually the minority on it.
Right.
So-called blacks and browns, we still don't add up to them. They are the majority that is on government aid.
It's by a landslide.
Yes. So for him to have the caucasity to say this is just beyond me. This man got some gumption.
So let's get a precept on that. Let's get Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17.
You said 4 and 17?
Yeah, 4 and 17.
Lamentations 4 and 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us.
That's our people. We are continuously watching for a nation that is not going to save us whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? So why vote for these presidents, for the mayor, for the senators, for the Congress? They're not going to care about us because they are following, certain protocols. This society, this country, right, is designed to where the rich continue to stay rich and the poor continue to be poor. That's what it's all about. They're not going to continuously care about us and, send somebody out there to save us when, these hard times come around. You see that? So I will advise you guys to just, depend on yourself, depend on each other, right? As a nation, the Israelites, so-called African Americans, Hispanics, Native American Indians, we need to build each other up. We need to build our nation. We need to restore Israel back.
That's right.
You see that? So, yeah, that's pretty much it with that, I'm going to pass it on to the next brother. He's going to cover his topic.
I'm going to just pull up the PowerPoint, but we could just keep the same seats. All I'm going to do is ask you to switch it for me if you don't mind, my brother. So whenever you know what I'm going for though. Was that what you was about to do? Did I mess you up, brother? Can you get that for me, please? That's it's crazy because I believe I touched on it briefly, but It's crazy how Esau had these unrealistic expectations only when it comes to our people. Saying, get off your ass and do something. Okay. The stores are sold out. They're not receiving anything else.
Wait. No, you missed what he said. He said, think outside the box.
That's that. You know, I can't. Oh, you knew what that was gonna do to me. That's why he did it. I can't stand the mode. Keep your chin up. Like, man, I hate when people. I dislike with a passion every aspect of that kind of mentality. Like people who on YouTube had them clickbait titles of do this one thing to become rich, and then it'd be like keep your chin up. Like, oh,
Stay positive.
yeah, I always be thinking about how Dave Chappelle, how he got irritated with that. He was like, oh, my chin's not high enough. It's just such a stupid notion. But then, and that's what we're gonna touch on is like with that mass shooter, he was having a bad day. He was drunk. He was this. He was that. It was like, okay, so when it's their people, they have all the compassion, understanding, wisdom, all the options in the world. But when it comes to us, it's like, make something happen. It's the same like Egypt, how they didn't give us straw and still said figure it out to make that brick. That PowerPoint ready?
Yeah, if we can go to the slide.
Let's just slide up.
So current events. It's not going to be too long. We apologize for the delay tonight. That was my responsibility. I dropped the ball, but like a ball, we're going to bounce back. Go ahead and get that next slide for me. So real water, real problems. Los Angeles County health officials sent out an alert Monday warning consumers not to drink real water bottled alkaline water, which they said may be linked to reports of acute non-viral hepatitis in Nevada. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, along with the centers, the CDC, and the Southern Nevada Health District, and partners were investigating recent reports of the illness when they found that, to date, the consumption of real water was found to be the only common link identified between the cases in Nevada. Officials with the FDA said consumers, restaurants, and retailers should discontinue drinking, cooking with, selling, or serving real water, which is sold in Los Angeles County and surrounding jurisdictions. So obviously, we're here located in LA. So all the people, I know a lot of our people, what a coincidence that as we're all on this wave to try to truly fix our health, to try to, take care of ourselves, to move differently, holistically. Now even the alkaline water is being touched. So it's an unfortunate instance, but also I put that in there to be a warning. If you have that real water, they're advising that you get rid of it. They're advising that you throw it away, not to use it for any kind of reason because it's different things that it's been linked to. I also found a different article, which I didn't include. Initially, they were saying that I believe it was kidney failure. I believe that was the initial diagnosis. Then they said non-acute hepatitis that was non-viral.
Oh, kidney failure linked to the alkaline water.
The real water,
right?
yeah. That was the first article that I saw, and then later it was classified as the non-viral hepatitis. So nonetheless, it doesn't really make me comforted and say, "Oh, my kidneys ain't gonna fail. I'm just gonna get hepatitis." So be aware of that, and be vigilant. Can you give me the next slide?
Yeah. Wait. Well, let me see. Next slide. Yeah. So I want to chime in on about the real water because you got a lot of holistic doctors out there that would suggest you to drink real water, alkaline water, for the sake of health benefits and all of that. But I honestly feel that's a myth. All these alkaline waters that they have out there, you got people spending, a lot of money on that alkaline water. Alkaline water runs up to like down there, $8, $7, for water. But, look, the scriptures say spring water, so I would advise anybody to just drink spring water. And on top of that, you can make your own alkaline water instantly. Because the thing about alkaline water, it shows the pH levels, right? They have pH 6, 7, up to 10, right? But I was talking to this one guy at Whole Foods. This was an employee there, and he was saying, first of all, that's not even the accurate pH that's that is showing on the bottle, because the pH, right? Let's say for an example, pH 9 or pH 10. That's the pH when it's being made there at the factory, at the facility. But we got to keep in mind, they ship these products out all the way out here. Some of these products come out of state or, out the country or something. And by the time it gets here, the pH level drops. You see, so you're not really getting that, that pH alkaline water that it's being displayed. You see what I'm saying? So I would say, for anyone that want instant alkaline water, if you guys just get a key lime, right? If you guys get key limes, because key lime is naturally alkaline, right? It's acidic on the outside and it's alkaline when it hits the body. So if you get you a gallon of water and you split a key lime in half and squeeze that key lime into that water, it will instantly turn alkaline. You see what I'm saying? That will be the natural way to do it. And on top of that, that will be saving you thousands of dollars. You got people spending thousands of dollars on machines to alkaline their water. And check this out. The brother is bringing out that, the alkaline water is causing organ failure. You see that? So you can never go wrong going the natural way, Yeah,
I was going to say, to be clear, that's not I'm not putting that out as the standard for all alkaline water. The pH properties of water, anything I believe below a 6.1, or actually anything below a 7.0 is considered basic. And I believe that's the side that alkaline water is on. Or is that acidic?
Yeah,
that's acidic. And then from 7.9 and above is considered acidic. So,
it's alkaline.
Alkaline. I got them mixed up. But you know what I'm trying to say is basically your water should be at a pH balance of 7. I'm not a chemist. I'm not going to speak too heavily on that. But I do want to say that's not necessarily the standard across alkaline water. That's this particular time and this particular brand. And that's why I brought out this article. Bugs in your food on purpose. So this is actually across the board. And that's why I wanted to differentiate, because the previous one, it was that particular brand. This one is across the board. If you see, we'll get to it now. Explain. Go ahead.
Shellac, sometimes called confectioner's glaze or resinous glaze, comes from the forests of Southeast Asia, where tiny scale insects, principally Caria laca, suck the sap from host trees and secrete an amber-colored resinous pigment known as lac, which females use to cling to branches.
Go ahead.
Harvesters crush these coated branches and wash and sieve the material to purify it. Inevitably, it is replete with dismembered insect corpses, also traditionally known as beetle juice. Shellac is also used in everything from hair to molded phonograph records to floor varnish. And now it also coats pharmaceutical pills, fruits, and candies, including Whoppers.
Give me Ezekiel 4:13. So I really had to reason with this one, at least as far as I could understand to reason with it, because I considered, honey, right? Honey is spoken of consistently throughout the scriptures. It's a byproduct of bees. Bees, if you don't know, hopefully, spoiler alert, they vomit to create that honey. It comes internally. However, Most High said it was lawful. Why? Because it's a byproduct. Not because it's sweet, but because it's a byproduct of the animal or of the insect, not the insect itself. With confectioner's glaze, I would say that, okay, maybe we could say this is lawful because it's simply the byproduct, no different than honey. However, it actually clings to branches, so that's the way that it actually nests itself, clings onto the branches, establishes its home. I believe that it releases that secretion when it lays eggs. So you're not just getting just the byproduct of the bug. Oftentimes the bug is either stuck to its own glaze, it lays its eggs within its glaze. It does a lot of different things with that glaze, but you're getting a lot of the bugs. Because, here in Babylon, FDA allows you to have a certain amount of bugs. There's a certain, cap that you can't exceed. So to an extent, everything is defiled, but this is to the point where not only do they list it as an ingredient, it's better known as beetle juice. That's gross. And I was like, it was a movie. It's quite literally the very fabric of what that bug is. And it's very well known that the bug is in there. So it's not just the inevitable little pieces that you're getting, but it's the entire bug was ground up in there. And it's done intentionally because they want that glaze. So at that point, it becomes unlawful. You got something you want to say?
Nope.
Ezekiel, go ahead, give me that 4 and 13.
Ezekiel 4:13. And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them.
So I always think about this scripture, man. We eating defiled bread. So like I said, the FDA already allows a certain level of bugs, insects, even certain companies. It can be mice, droppings. It depends on what they produce and what they face the most commonly and how well they can filter that out. The FDA gets to a point where they say, okay, well, we'll allow this much. You can look up the statistics. They're allowed to have a certain level of bug in every quantity or every, I can't remember the exact statistics, but they can have a certain level of bugs in whatever quantity the FDA specifies. So say if it's peanut butter, it might be like 0.02 grams or something along those lines, or 0.2 grams per ounce of peanut butter. It might be something along those lines. It's not an actual quote. But that's literally how they deal with it. They just said, okay, just don't have too much.
That's deep. That's real deep.
Yeah, so the confectioner's glaze, like I said, that's very much the bug. It's a lot of the bug. It's the entire bugs. It's a large quantity of them, and it's very well known as that name. So therefore, don't try your best not to deal with that. Go back to the PowerPoint. Hit the next slide for me. Dead Sea Scrolls. Go ahead.
Dead Sea Scrolls discoveries. A new set of Dead Sea Scrolls, ancient fragments of biblical texts dating back almost 2,000 years and thought to have been hidden during a Jewish revolt against Rome, have been found in an Israeli desert. The Israel Antiquities Authority announced Tuesday that a 4-year archaeological project uncovered portions of the book of the 12 minor prophets, including the books of Zechariah and Nahum. It was the first discovery in 60 years. While the scrolls are only fragments, the team managed to piece some of them together. One fragment turned out to be the 5th verse of chapter 1 of the book of Nahum. Another was verses from the 8th chapter of Zechariah.
So, obviously, I'm bringing this out not only because it's important to look into that, prove the validity of the Bible, prove the age of the Bible.
So the white man didn't write the Bible?
Absolutely not.
No, I'm talking about the one that we read, no? Because, I'm trying to understand. I'm a little confused. From what I understand, everything that everyone's told me, we ain't supposed to read this book because the white man wrote this book. But you're saying that there's older scrolls.
Clearly.
That this book was translated from. Is that what you're saying?
Con.
Oh. So the white man didn't write this book.
Not at all.
Got it. Okay, I was just confused.
I
had to make sure.
That's why, even though, so if you look into the Dead Sea Scrolls, oftentimes they find fragments. It's difficult for them to put it back together because obviously there are ancient scrolls and they're uncovering these things. It's not like they're going to libraries where they've been preserved. They're digging them out grounds. I believe this one, if they specifically detailed their going down into I guess a trench in a sense. They had to rappel down to be able to retrieve the fragments of the scrolls, though. So it's not necessarily like it's preserved, but it very clearly proves the validity of the Bible and the age of the Bible. Go to the next slide. Mass shooter in Boulder, Colorado. Read that for me, please.
Ahmad al-Aliwi Alisa was identified by authorities Tuesday as the gunman who opened fire at a King Super grocery store in Colorado, killing 10 people, including a Boulder police officer. Oh, this man's bold. The name of the 21-year-old suspect who was in custody was released at a news conference by Boulder Police Chief Maris.
He was in what?
The name of the 21-year-old suspect who is in custody.
He's in custody. So this dude killed 10 people, one of which included a police officer. And guess what they managed to be able to do? Take him in. We get killed for looking wrong, for walking wrong. We get killed for not responding fast enough, for flinching, for turning, for for putting the officer in fear of his life, even though he's the one with the gun, the baton, the stun gun, the bulletproof vest,
And the training.
and the training. He fears for his life. Pull the trigger, kill a nigga. He's a hero. But this dude who killed 10 people, one of which was a police officer, they was like, he surrendered. We took him in. And the crazy part about it is, this is what I was talking about, the caucasity. Look what they said about him at the bottom. Go ahead and finish that up.
The name of the 21-year-old suspect who was in custody was released at a news conference by Boulder Police Chief Maris Harold, who did not disclose a possible motive for the Monday's bloodshed.
So they don't even know why he did it. It wasn't like he was hitting people of any particular. They can't decipher his motive. There wasn't like there was anything that connected those people enough to where they can say, okay, this is why he did it. They don't know yet. But look how they dealt with it. Go ahead.
The defense cannot do anything until we are able to fully assess Mr. Elisa's mental illness. Mr. Elisa's mental illness. Defense attorney Catherine Harold, who'd asked for a 3-month delay, had told Mulvihill, "We cannot begin to assess the nature of the depth of Mr. Elisa's mental illness until we have the discovery from the government."
So then they was like, well, he's mentally ill. And we have to figure out. They said he's mentally ill, and they were like, and we have to discover the extent. We can't judge him until we know how crazy it is. It's like at a certain point, how much is too much? This man's criminally
I need to know how he
insane.
got a gun.
That's what I'm saying. If the man's so criminally insane, the man's so unstable, the man has a mental illness, still manages to acquire a gun, kills 10 people, he's very clearly a threat. A big threat at that.
No, not big enough. He wasn't dark enough.
And they ended up taking him in. And the judge is like, give us a 3-month delay. I can't remember whether or not he got bail, but it's like
He wasn't dark enough to be persecuted like that, sir. That's why.
Well, he ain't got this Israelite blood in him. Go ahead and hit that next slide for me, Quata.
I want to say something about this because, our people still can't see it today, how this society is designed to where, we are consistently being killed for no apparent reason, right? So that's the thing, they kill the unarmed individuals because if you notice, all of our people, right, all of our brothers and sisters, we look at George Floyd, we look at Breonna Taylor, all these individuals was unarmed and they decided to kill us. But if you look at these mass shooters, right, this person right here, you look at Dylan Roof, right? These were heavily armed individuals, but look, they didn't decide to kill them. They ended up arresting them. And the interesting thing about this person, Dylan Roof, the person, the Caucasian who had shot up the Charleston church in South Carolina, this person, the cops that arrested him, ended up taking this dude to get free Burger King because he told him, he felt a little hungry after shooting all these people up at the church. He told the cops he was hungry, and they ended up taking him to go get Burger King. You see that? So that's just to show you, they don't really care about us,
He was rewarded.
Exactly.
The next slide for me.
Mass shooter in Atlanta.
So there was another one, and I believe these were no more than a week apart. Go ahead.
The man who police say went on a rampage at 3 spas in the Atlanta area, killing 8 people, was charged on Wednesday with 8 counts of murder in connection with the attacks. The brazen shootings, which took the lives of 6 women of Asian descent, stirred considerable outrage and fear in the Asian American community. Investigators said they had not ruled out bias as a motivating factor, even as the suspect denied such racial animus once in custody.
So he went to specifically massage parlors, all of them Asian, killed 6 Asian women, and they're like, well, can't rule it out. I'm like, it was very clear. He only killed Asian people. It seems pretty obvious that it was very clearly racially motivated.
He just happened to stop at these spas.
Yeah, and then, good Lord. Esau is going to do whatever it takes to protect his own. He's bold.
We cannot say it was racially motivated.
they do whatever it takes to protect their own. But read on.
The suspect told police that he had a sexual addiction and had carried out the shootings at the massage parlors to eliminate his temptation.
So let me not discipline myself. Let me just go kill all the Asian massage parlor. That's my kink. That's my
So wait,
thing.
his fetish is. So
guess-
do you think he has a foot fetish?
I think it's a happy ending kind of thing.
But this is what like blows my mind. So his fetish is little Asian women that rub feet and do toes. That's his fetish, and he said, "You guys have tempted me so much. It's so sexy how you massage the feet, how you put the polish on the nails. It just turns me on. I get off on that. Now I have to get rid of you."
That's wild. That's some real Edomite logic. That's
If
some real-
that ain't clear people logic, I don't know what is.
that's some real manifest destiny. I'm called to do this. Because you have to think, like, he could have easily, first and foremost, you could have killed yourself. Edomite.
Should have.
You would have been fine. Or the world would have been fine, one less Edomite. But it's like, he goes to the
Don't say
parlors.
that. Don't you say that.
So he had to overcome his temptation by going around. And then this amongst many other things, the COVID, even though as far as what I've seen in the latest reports, COVID was tracked to bats, right? In China. They said that might have been case 0. So then
That's
they're
a
all
theory. That's a theory.
kind of, it's a theory, but it's been very, how should I say, very heavily accepted that
Yes.
that's the cause. A lot of news places haven't even given space for error. They're saying empirically, it was coming from China, a man who ate a bat, and he contracted the virus through the natural parasites and all that kind of stuff that a bat can live with that will infect a human. But it's like, man, and then it created this whole narrative of Asian hate. It creates this whole thing, and it's, that actually, as a matter of fact, that's what we're going to talk about next. Hit the next slide for me. That's not what we're going to talk about next. First, we're going to talk about reparations. Reparations. But is it worth it?
Oh man, wait. So we're not talking about the hate Asian people yet?
We are. It's the next slide. It's the next slide.
Got it.
Hit me with that, please.
All right. Alderman Robin Roos Simmons and the Evanston City Council developed plans to direct revenue from a 3% tax on legalized cannabis into assistance for home loans.
Go ahead.
We had to do something radically different to address the racial divide, that we had in our cities, which include historic oppression, exclusion, and divestment in the black community, Simmons told CNN.
So they taxing 3% on the marijuana.
Let's tax the weed and give it to the...
That's what I'm saying. Who's, first and foremost, most commonly, who's going to buy weed? Every little.
So we
spot
paying our own
I've seen,
reparations.
well, you paying your own reparations. Thank you. You paying your own reparations. They said, well, how do we do this? We'll tax 3% on all cannabis sales in the state of Illinois.
Who's always
and
getting high out
we'll
here?
provide it to people. And you had to have a specific criteria. So it wasn't like every so-called Negro in Illinois received the $25,000 that was allotted. There were even stipulations on top of that. And even more so, $25,000 is not much. While he's reading this, can someone give me Joel 3 and 4? Pick up on the next point.
Joel
Yeah,
3 and
Joel.
4, yeah.
That's it.
You said Joel.
Okay, kind
What's upsetting is $25,000 isn't even an annual salary, unless you're like in Ohio from working minimum wage, like something around there.
You can't. I'm not gonna say $25,000 is nothing.
It absolutely is. Well, depending on where you are.
If let me say this, if you was to give me $25,000, I'd be excited for it. But for you to say we raped, robbed, hung, burned, castrated, dismembered,
And we're gonna hand y'all
disemboweled,
$25K. Get over it.
25,000, and mind you, this is not even like all of America has taken a stance. It's only one state, from what I see, that's actually signed it into legislation. They taxing the marijuana, which isn't in any kind of direct
They
penalty
might tax your
to-
reparations too. You got to pay tax on that.
and it's like it's not even a direct penalty to the Edomites, those so-called white men that actually put our people enslaved our people, or put our people in slavery. They taxing more than likely our own people to be able to pay our own reparations. Read on.
Well, like Mayor Tim Boyd said, get up off your ass and do something about it.
Do something about that, man. It's crazy, Esau, man.
We had, The first initiative of the $10 million plan is restorative housing reparations program that would distribute up to $25,000 for housing per eligible resident.
So it's not even like they have a whole bunch of money. Again, give me 10 million, I'd say that's something. If you separate out of this, most cities have budgets that are in the billions if they have the population. Most states have the budgets that are in the billions with the population. This entire state, even with taxing for the marijuana, 3% on every marijuana sale, only diverted or separated 10 million. Only set aside 10 million to go to Jake's. And there was a stipulation. Go ahead.
The first initiative of the $10 million plan is a restorative housing reparations program that would distribute up to $25,000 for housing per eligible resident, with funding expected to come from the 3% tax on recreational marijuana sales, according to CNN affiliate WLS.
Go ahead.
To be eligible, residents must be a black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 to 1969, or a descendant of such person. The family must also have been a victim of discrimination in housing because of policies or practices in the city in that time. Evanston has pledged to distribute $10 million over a decade.
Over a decade. That's
Decade.
not icing on the cake. They didn't even say 10 million at once. You don't even get to say, okay, they're giving out reparations. Let me go get my 25,000. Let me prove, because they already required an eligibility, which shouldn't even be required. This country is built on the backs of slaves.
Exactly.
It's built on our labor. It's built on top of our graves through our blood, sweat, and tears. So there's an eligibility requirement. And even then, they're only allotting $1 million a year.
That's not enough.
A year for every so-called Negro in the state. Only $1 million a year, $25,000 a person. What is that? Like 400 people that will be able to get so-called reparations? Who has that Joel 3 and 4 for me?
Joel chapter 3, verse 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense?
He said, you going to pay me back for all that you've done? Because all these nations have partook, but go ahead.
And if ye recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
He said, I'm not interested in that. You can't pay people, you can't pay us back. Right. Straight up. You can't pay us back for generation after generation being stripped away from our mothers, being publicly raped, being publicly executed, being dismembered, I feel like if that was to happen to one person, it would be war until we was all gone. Let alone generation after generation, person after person having these things happen. And they said, okay, I'll give you niggas something. $25,000 per household, not resident, per household. And we'll give you $10 million in total, over 10 years, like $1 million a year. That's hardly anyone that's actually going to be able to receive some kind of money.
Everybody gets $100 every month.
Like, come on now. It's like, man, at this point, it's just like it's a slap in the face. It's so disrespectful. It's so just disgusting. But this is what Esau is doing. So when the Most High said, like, he's not able to repent, I hate him, we see these kind of instances, it's easy to understand. The way that Esau moves, the way that he's conducted himself, his hate against his brother Jacob, us. It's crazy. Continue on.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border.
He said, man, you sold our people. You robbed me and you sold my people. How could you pay me back? He said silver and gold. They was taking silver and gold. What's the price of gold per ounce now? What is it, like $1,500, $1,600? We can't verify how much gold was stolen, let alone a life. Esau can't pay us back. And it's like, at this point, why even try? Why even slap us in the face with that BS ass bill? Continue doing your wickedness. You already know what's coming. Don't try to, and that's not even like a legitimate beg for mercy. That's just like I don't care. But now we're gonna get into the Asian American hate. Go back to the PowerPoint for me. Hit that first link. You have to go to the next slide, then hit the top link.
I want to say one thing real quick about the reparations, because a lot of people don't know, even the Japanese, they received reparations. And that allowed them to advance in this country. And I got this source right here. This is from Wikipedia. I want to read this real quick. It says internment of Japanese Americans, and it tells you how much the government paid these people. It says the legislation admitted that government action were based on race prejudice, war hysteria, and a failure of political leadership. The U.S. government eventually dispersed more than $1.6 billion, equivalent to $3 billion in 2019, in reparations to 82,219 Japanese Americans who had been interned.
So they got way more money and spread across a much smaller, more isolated population. And yet we couldn't even get to the triple digits in the millions, let alone billions. That's a hell of a point. And then the so-called what do you call those? The so-called Jews that are over in Israel, even they get reparations for the Holocaust, mind you, not from Germany, that actually was responsible for the war, but from America. Didn't America come in, kick down the door, at least try to defend defend against Hitler and all that kind of stuff? And and the so-called, them fake Jews, the Amalekites, they like, nah, you didn't do it fast enough. We want reparations. Too much damage was done. Or hell, they just cycling money out of this country over there. I can't possibly think of the reasoning. But it like I said, man, it's a slap in the face. Go ahead, go to the next slide. Hit the first link for me, please. So yeah, come first link. No, go first link.
What's the issue?
That one? You already know
What's up?
Yeah.
Why are you coming over here?
I just want to see what you guys are taking pictures of.
Why is it your business?
Well, you know what? This is my home.
Okay, mine too.
It's my home.
Why are you taking pictures
Where
of
do
me?
you live?
I live in Scottsdale. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Michigan plates?
Yeah. Why are you taking pictures of me?
Well, you know what? We've had problems here.
I don't care. You don't know me. Why are you taking pictures of me? And I don't know you. Do you know a lot of white men are doing racist things in this world, sir?
No.
You don't know that? You're not aware
I'm
of
a
that?
racist.
You are racist.
I'm a racist.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay? So
what's
the
your
issue?
point?
He
Why are
said
you
that
here?
boldly.
Because this is a no nigger zone.
Ooh.
Not really.
So that is. This is a no. And he didn't say the igga. He said igger. He put some strength in that R. He said this is a no nigger zone. So when these Asian, these so-called Asian Americans and all this other kind of stuff, they come in and pleading. Don't fall for the okie doke, Israel, because nation after nation have come into our communities, into our neighborhoods, etc., looking for some kind of assistance from our people, right? The same thing they did with that. Damn, I can't remember her exact name. What was that Edomite? The "We Can Do It" poster. She had the arm that she was flexing. They did the same thing. Oh, yeah. The feminism wave. They constantly came into Israel. They constantly preached that to the so-called Negro woman, the so-called Latina woman. And now look at the trickle effects of our women constantly. I don't need a man. I'm an independent bad bee. I can't, won't. Okay. And it's like for an Edomite woman, I can see why she wants that freedom. This is your kingdom. This is the best it's going to get. I'd be damned if I get the only chance I get it to have some fun being so-called oppressed. But for the Israelite woman, they used the strength, the power behind the Israelite communities, behind the black woman, the Latino woman, behind our people, got what they needed, and then they jumped ship. Or if they can contaminate you or destroy you further, they did. I'm going to skip the second one for the sake of time. Right? So where was the assistance? Where was the assistance here? If you don't know the backstory behind this photo, so this was the cop who was standing on the side. So the bottom left-hand corner of that image, you see that elbow, those two boots? That was the Edomite who was leaning on George Floyd. This Asian man was watching. So you're talking about we need help and, there's so much hate in this country and all this other kind of stuff. Well, where were you? Where were you in our struggles? And we're not saying it's one isolated event. We're talking about a widespread ideology, a widespread behavior that we see consistently time after time with their people dealing with ours. Give me 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and 84. I might be talking about 1st Ezra, so let me see. I'm sorry, 1st Ezra 8 and 84. Drop down to 85.
2nd Ezra chapter 8, verse 85. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them.
So the Most High was talking about the heathens and our dealings with them. He said, don't give your son unto their daughters, vice versa. We don't have nothing to do with them. If it's business, cool. Let's sit down, let's talk about it, let's get it done. Outside of that, what do we have to do with you? He said, moreover, you shall not seek peace. So don't make no covenant, no treaty, because this is what so-called peace looks like, right? People will sacrifice their freedoms for that so-called security. We have so-called peace and freedom and all that other kind of stuff in America, and what does it look like? Everyone else is getting what they working for, what they desire, what they strip and rob out of our communities, but what do we end up with? When they needed to fund, matter of fact, watch that show Snowfall. When they needed to fund the war in Nicaragua, what did they do? When they needed to repel the Russians without getting directly involved, Esau knew they didn't want a nuclear war. America did just enough to have deniability, funded under the dark. But who did they sacrifice to do that? So crack in our communities came to us, strengthened our American pride, destroyed and raped our communities. Said, cool, we out. And they do it time and time again. And it's not just one nation. It's every nation that comes to our community consistently across the board, rapes it of its resources, and then bounces. But they talking about, we need help and all this other kind of stuff, looking to our people and saying, I remember I said something along those lines on a video. Asian Americans were calling upon our people saying that, we should stand in solidarity because we're going through oppression. And I basically commented something along the lines of, where were you during our struggles? And I posted this scripture. He comes back, oh, God bless, bro. I don't hate you and this. Put it nicely. I don't care, bro. Look what your people have done to our people. Look at how your people continue to profit off of our people. Where's your protest? Because the crazy part about it, even Esau will tell you, they can charge you accessory because you had a part to play. You had an active role in the commission of a crime, and that is punishable. Now, of course, it depends on the crime, but when you're talking about the destruction of our people, you have an active role in the commission of this crime. I'm not trying to hear it. Man, I'm not trying to hear it. Go back to the PowerPoint. This is going to be the last one. Couldn't get through no current events unless we talk about your boy. Hit that next slide for me for a favor. Trump. Good old Trump. Didn't Massa give us the first stimulus? Yeah,
he did.
He's all right.
He did.
Good old Trump. So now Trump's in trouble now that his presidency has ended. I just wanted to mention this, and then I'm going to get Isaiah 14 and 16 and pass it on to the next brother. Go ahead.
As you've probably heard by now, Donald Trump is in a lot of legal trouble, which is unfortunate for him given the fact that legitimate lawyers want nothing to do with him. And if it weren't for the fact that the Republican Party had already decided to let him get away with inciting a violent insurrection, he almost certainly could have been found guilty at his second impeachment trial. In fact, one of the attorneys on his dream team suggested the Department of Justice should arrest him if they thought he committed a crime. Currently, the ex-president is the defendant in approximately 29 lawsuits.
29.
According to the Washington Post, though likely more worrisome to him are the criminal investigation he's at the center of, particularly the one being led by Manhattan District Attorney Cyrus Vance Jr.
So I just wanted to throw that in there. Give me Isaiah 14 and 16.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 16, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms? That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners?
So like, is this him? Trump was just a man. He had so much blind faith. He had so many people who were blindly following him, who couldn't speak to his morals, couldn't speak to his campaign goals, who couldn't speak to any, for the most part, any aspect of his leadership, yet in full support. A lot of people still have that support, but a lot of people now, they're saying the movement is falling apart. QAnon acts like it doesn't exist. People are, but it's like, is this the man? Just a minute ago, the whole world was watching Trump. The whole world wanted to see if the election was going to be stolen. He had everything in an uproar simply by bumping his gums. Now he in the middle of all these lawsuits. All these lawyers don't want nothing to do with him. He's trying to fight to make sure that he stays out of prison, so on and so forth. Is this the man? This the guy? So I wanted to throw that in there because, like I said, it wouldn't, we have to talk about that, but I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to the next
You have to admit it was pretty entertaining. Trump gave us an entertaining 4 years. I will definitely say that.
And he was definitely an eye-opener because all those people that were, I got rights and I got this and no.
You want to bet?
Exactly.
Right.
Kind of. I believe we're done with the PowerPoints.
Yeah, we're done with the PowerPoints. I'm going to grab a little something real quick. All right. In other news for Israel, some people are celebrating it today. Some will be celebrating it tomorrow. I think some may be celebrating it Saturday. We'll be celebrating it Sunday. All praise to the Most High. But Passover is here. Passover is now here. It is Passover season. Again, we're talking about current events, whether in the Israelite community or the real world. I decided to say, let's talk about the most important thing that's going on right now. Because, no offense to you guys, but who cares about this stuff? Passover is coming up.
That's right.
Passover is here, right? So, all of our lessons have been centered around the convocation, the feasts. But I just want to touch on a few things real quick. Let's go to 1 Corinthians. Five. There's actually two that I want. Absolutely, but we're going to start a little above that. We're going to actually start 6. But I'm going to grab two things. Yeah. There's also something else I want to get in 1 Corinthians. That's why I had to double check.
1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 6. Your glorying is not good. Know ye not that a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump?
Mm-hmm.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ, our Passover, is sacrificed for us.
Read.
Therefore let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
So one of the things we need to make sure that we're being aware of, Passover is here. Passover is in a few days. For some, Passover is tonight. But it said when you partake of this feast, make sure that you don't have that leaven of malice and wickedness in your spirit. We spit the what is it called? The term spring cleaning is actually from the actual cleaning, the thorough cleaning that an individual does during Passover. They didn't just start cleaning in the spring because it's springtime. No, because the very first month of the year, which is in the spring, we would have a feast day called Passover, and you would have to do a thorough cleaning of your physical dwelling. So everyone, you guys make sure that you also do a thorough cleaning of your spiritual dwelling. Every corner, under the bed, under the couch, under your TV stand, under your TV, behind the oven, behind the fridge. And that's also speaking spiritually. Really check yourself. Really examine your spirit. This Passover is here. And one thing you don't want to do, because if you don't know nothing, that Passover lamb is very sacred. Passover lamb is very holy, and no unclean thing is to touch it. Otherwise, you'll be condemned. The Most High is going to deal with you. So what you don't want to do is go in with hate in your hearts, with the spirit of malice and wickedness in your heart. So I wanted to just hit on that really quickly because, again, no offense, but to hell with all of this stuff. It's springtime, it's a bib, and it's Passover. I think everybody, there's like a consensus around Israel. Passover is not just a feast, it is the feast. You got dedication, you got tabernacles, you got all these other feasts. We love it. But when Passover come around, that's when everybody want to show out. It's just our tradition. It's our custom, right? So make sure that, look good, of course. Present yourself nicely. It's the Lord's feast day. Don't come in here looking a hot mess. But also make sure your spirit ain't looking a hot mess either. Did you have something before I went on? Okay. So with that, I actually was going to touch on that second. How much time we got left? Oh, we got 5 minutes. Why not? Why not? Let's go ahead and touch this. This is some stuff right here. Actually, I wanted to hit this first and then get to that point, but we'll do it this way. It's fine too. Let me send it off. Open up the email over there.
Colin, I was about to say, why you finding that? I was going to say it is very important. I'm not going to say this as a slight to anyone. It's like I have seen so often, we can focus so heavily on the things that are carnal. We can focus so heavily on the things that we can see and touch. And the Most High has always been about your heart, your spirit, your intentions. See, like, I don't want you to look good. I want you to be good. That's why he even talks about how the humble and the lowly that keep the commandments are greater than the mighty who don't. He said, I don't care about how you look. What is that to the Most High? What is money to the Most High? What is gold to the Most High? What is a man of this world that is of great renown to the Most High? He said, I don't care about that. So I want you to be right internally, inside. That's why he's mad. He said, I'm searching. I want you to clean up your spirits. Put out that malice, that wickedness. Put out that hatred. Check that pride. Because remember, the Most High said all things start with pride. He said, man, put all that behind you. Become as a new lump moving into this Passover, which is, mind you, right after the beginning of our year. This is your so-called New Year's resolution. This is the time that you set up and say, you know what? I've struggled with this. I've struggled with that. Man, I messed up here. I messed up there. This is also a time of reflection to say, okay, I've messed up in all of these things. And of course, you want to give your space to fasting, give your space to praying. The Most High said, like, man, I require a broken and contrite heart. But he said, I require repentance. Repentance is not, I'm sorry. Repentance is to turn away in action. Most High said, I want to see you do different. So at a certain point, man, get up and do something about it. You sorry? Show me.
And I want to grab something. So when you read in the book of Corinthians was actually during the time of the Passover, right? So if you read in 1 Corinthians 11, I want to start at verse 24. We're going to read through it, and then I want to touch on it. 24 down to 28.
God. 1 Corinthians 11 and 24. And when he had given thanks, he brake it and said, take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me. After the same manner also he took the cup when he had supped, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me.
Now, the Christian church always touches on this, and this is what they call communion. But this is literally talking about the time of the Passover when Christ was speaking to his disciples, right? But read, where were you read 25?
Yeah, we're at 26.
Drop down to 20, read 27.
27, wherefore whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and blood of the Lord.
28.
But let a man examine himself.
Hold on. Now, this is the important thing, right? Before you partake of this, before you partake of the Passover, the wine, the bread, the Passover lamb, it says, let a man examine himself. Read.
And so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup.
29.
For he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body.
Not understanding what he's doing. So you got to make sure this is the lamb. That this feast day is holy. The cleaning out of your house is a spiritual mirror to what you should be doing internally as well. If you're not doing that, then you're not ready to partake of the Passover. If you can't let go of grudges, if you can't let go of gripes, if you can't check yourself, say, man, my shit stink too. Man, I need to get this right. If you can't do that, then you don't need to partake of the Passover. We understand that, yeah, this is tradition. We're supposed to do this. The Lord said this is what we're supposed to be doing because it's a sign between you and me. But guess what? The scriptures also talk about you not being able to check yourself and you having hatred toward your brother. So you've already broken that covenant with the Lord if you can't get that out of your spirit. So you don't need to partake of this. So before you partake, brothers and sisters, check your spirit and make sure that you remove all of that malice, wickedness, grudging, all of that out of your heart. I actually wanted to deal with this after I dealt with this, but we're working a little backwards. Take us to the PowerPoint. It's all good. And this literally is what kind of led me to want to deal with this because, again, in the spirit of Passover, this is right before Passover. This just happened like a week ago, if that. Probably not even a week ago yet. Play this.
What's this Commander Junior Hunter block, man?
No, this is the
Commander
Lord
Junior
block,
Hunter
bro.
block, man. We finna set up right here.
How about this?
He gonna
Fuck
do shit
your
about
Hunter.
it. He gonna do shit about it.
Fuck your Hunter.
Fuck Nathaniel and fuck you.
It ain't about
This
that.
purple goddamn bullshit. You ain't gonna run up on us like you did.
No,
you
I'm just saying, though, bro. I'm just saying, what's this about? Hey, y'all bag up, bag up, bag up, bag up, bag up.
I best advise you to bag up.
Bag up, bag up. What
I
I'm
best
asking you,
advise you to
bro,
bag up.
what is this about, bro? What is it about?
What the fuck you mean it's about?
Spontaneous. What is this
What the fuck
about?
you mean it's about?
What is this about?
Look how he came. We mad spirit with spirit, bro.
You came up to us.
This ain't peace.
Right now, we set up right here in public area.
You need to
You
remember
came
that
up to
peace,
us.
bro.
Right now, we
Yeah, I
setting
hear
up
you.
right here, right now.
When have you said
We
that?
setting up right now. We
When
setting
have
up
you
right
said
now.
that?
You came to us, man.
have you
You
said
came to us, man.
When have you
You
said
understand?
No beef
You
at all,
came to
bro.
us.
What I'm telling you, bro.
This is public. Ain't this
Come
public
on,
property?
feel.
Hey,
Ain't this public property?
what I'm telling you,
Ain't
what
this
is it
public
about?
property?
What is it about?
We finna whole camp
Is
right
it
here.
about hatred?
You gonna keep.
You want some animal, bro? You want some animal? You want problems or what?
Whatever you want.
Do you want
We all
problems?
about warfare. All about warfare. We all about. We all about warfare, man.
What I'm saying,
That's what you want. If that's what you want to take. If that's what you. Let's get it then. Let's get it then.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, then what's up then? What's up? You a hoe in the whole camp. We finna whole camp. You a hoe. You a hoe. You a bitch, nigga. You a bitch, nigga.
Go ahead.
If I'm a hoe, treat me like a fucking hoe, nigga.
We ain't even got that's a minute in, and they do this for 6 minutes and 48 seconds, right? Now this isn't. I could have just played the audio just so you could hear it, so these Israelites. So these is Israelites. You can no, it's fine. These is our brothers and our sisters. Excuse me. These are just our brothers. These are our brothers, right? This becomes very disheartening. Give me Proverbs 27:5. Actually, I don't want that. Give me Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19-17.
Leviticus chapter 19, verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart.
Hold on. This is what we got to understand. And this is why I was going to swing it back around to dealing with examining yourself. But it said you're not supposed to hate your brother in your heart, right? Read.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him.
So it would be hatred for brothers to not check individuals for doing things like this. This here shows that there is a hatred, a division in Israel, and this should not be so, right? I was going to get Proverbs 27:5, but I'll just paraphrase it. Open rebuke is better than secret love, right? So Brothers come to correct brothers because it's out of love. We got to do better. We know better. We got to do better. There's no way that we're supposed to be the children of God, the chosen people, the holy nation, set above all, supposed to be the representation of the Most High, and we fighting with each other. It's absolutely unacceptable. There's absolutely no logical explanation, no justifiable reason for this to be okay. What brothers refer to as camp banging, right? This is unacceptable. Especially because everyone's already coming for our throats. Everyone's coming for our neck. And then we want to fight amongst each other. Give me Psalm 133:1.
Book of Psalms, chapter 133, verse 1. Behold, how pleasant and good, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity.
So this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be dwelling together in unity. It's supposed to be a beautiful thing. We're supposed to be having an amazing time with one another, right? We're supposed to be showing brotherly love toward one another, right? Give me, let's go to Mark 9:37 real quick, 37 through 40. I want to just rifle off these scriptures. I just want to touch on this.
Mark 9:37, whosoever shall receive one of such children in my name receiveth me. And whoever shall receive me receiveth not me, but him that sent me. And John answered him, saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and he followeth not us.
Shalaki, that's the point that I wanted, right? So he said, John came over to Yahushua. He said, man, there's some people casting demons out, they doing the works, but it ain't under us. Watch what Christ says, read.
Saying, Master, we saw one casting out devils in thy name, and he followeth not us, and we forbade him because he followeth not us.
And they was like, yo, you can't do this. You ain't rocking with us. You can't do this. You can't do this work because you ain't under Yahushua. No, you wasn't with the 12. You can't do this, right? Well, Yahushua said.
But Jesus said, forbid him not, for there is no man which shall do a miracle in my name that can lightly speak evil of me. For he that is not against us is on our part.
It's for our part. Said if you rocking in the name, if you doing the works and you believe in Christ, this shouldn't be the case. Nigga, this is this camp over here. Nah, it's this congregation over here. Nah. That's unacceptable. That's not how we're supposed to be rocking. Give me 1 Corinthians 3. We're gonna start at the top. 3:1, yeah. 1 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1.
1 Corinthians 3:1. And I, brethren, could not speak unto you as unto spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Christ.
Watch this.
I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto ye were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able.
Read.
For ye are yet carnal.
Here's the problem, right? So Paul even was explaining to the people. He said, man, I got to talk to you like babies. I got to talk to you as people who don't have the understanding just yet because you're carnal, right? Let's see why they carnal. Read.
For whereas there is among you envying and strife and divisions.
And divisions, right? Read.
Are ye not carnal and walk as men?
It says, I can see that you foolish, you carnal. You got that wicked, you working in the flesh, right? I can see it. Why? Watch this.
For while one saith, I am of Paul.
I'm from True Nation.
And another, I am of Apollo.
No, I'm Sakari. I'm GMX. Right? Read.
Are ye not carnal?
That's carnal as hell. Read.
Who then is Paul? And who is Apollos? But ministers by whom ye believe, even as the Lord gave to every man.
He said, we ain't nothing. We are nothing more than vessels. We are nothing more than a vehicle that helps you to push forth the work. This ain't got nothing to do with us, the brand, the colors, none of that. So it ain't about no one man, one. That's no. It's not okay, right? So Paul even said, you carnal as hell for doing that. We got to get it together. We got to do better, right, Reed?
I have planted, Apollos watered, but Yahweh gave the increase.
Who gave the increase?
Yahweh gave the increase.
Nah, Bishop Tazai won.
The Most High gave the increase.
Nah, Bishop Nathaniel.
Most High gave the increase.
Nah, Apostle Daraj.
But God gave
It's
the
all the
increase.
Most High. It ain't no general this, high priest that, bishop this. No. This is all of the Most High.
Con.
As long as you're doing the work in the name of Christ, that's what matters. We should not be fighting over none of this. It's absolutely unacceptable. And this is why I wanted to circle around into what I was talking about with Passover, making sure that you cleansing your spirit, making sure that you checking your spirit, making sure that you are allowing yourself to examine yourself so that you'll be worthy to partake of the Passover, right? So that was ultimately the point. I just wanted to touch on those two things in Israel because, one, we should not be doing this. Again, Scripture said that we're supposed to be kings and priests. They didn't do that. It says that we're supposed to be the chosen above all nations. We fighting like them. Scriptures say that, matter of fact, 1 Corinthians 1:10 says there should be no divisions amongst us. Right? This is a problem, and we have to do better. Again, Moab won our throats. Esau won our throats. Elam, Ishmael, everybody, we already the scum of the earth. But then the scum of the earth to each other too. That's a problem. It's a problem. It's a huge issue. So we got to do better. We got to be better. We got to make sure that we check in our spirits. So with that, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to give my spiel, as I usually do, so eloquently do at the end of every class,
So beautifully.
right? So, Monday, every first Monday of the month, which is actually next Monday. Excuse me, not next Monday, the following Monday, which would be April. I want to get you the date. We'll get you some dates today. April 5th. Every first Monday of the month, we have Q&A sessions. Come through, ask whatever questions you have, ask the questions you're scared to ask your pastors, ask the questions that nobody has been able to answer. We do not profess to know everything, but we will give you the answer to the best of our abilities. And if we don't know, we will let you know. We'll get back to you. But Q&A, ask any question, biblical, historical, scientific, whatever, if you need your faith strengthened. If you have questions about things that are probably shaking your faith or whatever the case is, come in. Tune in, ask your questions. Every Tuesday, Bible Basics. Bible Basics, get you the milk. Make sure you are understanding the law, understanding the Torah, understanding character. These are the basics of the scriptures that will ensure that the Lord continues to keep you in this walk, because law and character are the two main, the foundation and the building blocks of growing in this truth. So make sure that you tune into those, and it will also help build and strengthen your faith and keep you strong in this walk. World History Wednesday, world history according to the Bible. So we get into the history of a lot of things. This is what a lot of our people are lacking as well. A lot of people don't really know a lot of the history in a book, and that's what we're here for. So we're trying to make sure that we are consistently giving you powerful, powerful, beautifully presented presentations and teachings on Wednesdays as well. So Tuesday, Bible Basics. Wednesdays are World History According to the Bible. Every second and fourth Thursday, we have Stick to the Script. Second Thursday is usually Chopper City or in the classroom. We give you some special lesson, usually not on the curriculum. We just decide we're going to throw something out there for the people. Every fourth Thursday, we do current events like we did today. Friday, Room 144, held up by Bishop Izar. Bishop Izar will be, and I believe one of the apostles, whichever one that Bishop Tazaya places on there, Room 144, you know you're going to get some fire. We get into the meat, maybe even give you a little more milk, but it may be a different flavor. We don't know yet. But Room 144, always something hot for you, always something beautiful, always something edifying, always going to strengthen your faith, always going to build you up. And Feed My Sheep, Saturday, closing Sabbath, 4:30 Pacific time, 4:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We have Bishop Tazaya, who always, and I say it all the time, here to feed your spirit. Always coming with some soul food, that real spiritual nourishment. So you want to make sure that you're tapping in, especially to those Saturday classes. Also, if you have not done so yet, make sure that you like, subscribe, hit the bell on our YouTube page. Make sure you like the True Nation Israelite Congregation page on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Make sure you even start looking into our booster club. We have made 2 trips thus far to Ghana. We've built up our congregation out in Ghana. We have a few congregants all scattered throughout the United States. And we're going to start making trips to feed the sheep elsewhere. Lord willing, very soon we'll be hitting the East Coast somewhere around June-ish. New York, Maryland, Pennsylvania, we're going to hit the East Coast, go a little south, right? So make sure you join the Booster Club. If you can, donate to the cause. We out here pushing this word for you guys. We've been working for the past couple of years to establish this particular platform to feed the sheep. We're trying to build your spirit up. We're trying to strengthen you. We're trying to keep you in the faith, keep you in the walk. And that is ultimately the goal. This ain't for us. This ain't for no vainglory. This is all of the Most High. Like it says, we water, one may plant, but it's all of the Lord. So this is what we're trying to do for you, so we can continue to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. And in doing so, we can wake up the required number so we can get the hell out of here and get back to power, the power that the Lord originally had us to be in, as it says in 2 Ezra 6:55. The world was made for our sakes. Let's get back to that point. So the world that was made for our sakes can be back in our hands for our sakes. So with that, make sure you tune in into the classes, like and subscribe to all of the channels. Follow our Instagram, follow our Twitter, True Nation Israelite Congregation. This has been another segment, another installment of Stick to the Script, Current Events. Brother Darash, Brother Yaquatazar, Brother Shamar, we signing out. Shalom.
Shalom.